So I'm not a religious person myself, I don't believe in any gods, it's just not for me. But I do believe in Lee Pace. If Lee Pace was a religion, and he should be, I would be known as a Pacist. That doesn't sound right.
We just need to go home.
I won't keep you if you wish to leave. But I want you to choose which door to go through based on your faith.
What does this have to do with us leaving?
Everything.
This story takes place in Boulder, Colorado, where two Mormon missionaries make the mistake of knocking on the door of one Mr. Reed. At first, he seems like a very friendly and charming man who's quite interested in what the girls have to say. He's curious about their religion and seems to know a lot more than most people they've tried to convert. But ever so slowly, he starts to challenge the morality of their doctrines, and things take a pretty dark turn. So right off the bat, I really like this film. There are some problems in the third act, which we'll get to, but I can't wait to watch this one again. Ever since I saw Hugh Grant's slimy character in The Gentleman, I just knew he'd make a great villain. So it was just a matter of time before he turned up in a horror movie. Well, actually, he has been in horror movies before. Check out The Lair of the White Worm if you haven't seen it yet. But he wasn't the villain of that story. He's never played anything like Mr. Reed in Heretic. That being said though, the marketing of this movie is a little bit misleading. It's not really a horror film, it's more of a horror / psychological thriller. And one of the things that really surprised me in a good way is how much dialogue there is. In fact, that's basically the whole point of the film. It's a theological debate in the most mean-spirited way, with Hugh Grant as a sort of anti-priest, poking holes in every belief system except the one true religion that he claims to have found. It's funny because the writers and directors of this movie also wrote A Quiet Place, which has very little dialogue. But in Heretic, the whole point of the movie is the conversation. It's like if the first scene from Inglourious Basterds was stretched out, and the dialogue just keeps getting more intense. And Hugh Grant has a couple of great little moments during this movie. At a certain point, Mr. Reed compares different religions to various iterations of a very famous board game. It is a wonderful monologue that I wish I could watch again and again. But like I said, the marketing of this film is misleading. For one, the trailer doesn't do the movie justice because it makes it seem like more of an escape room horror movie, which thankfully it really isn't. This is not one of those schlocky teen horror films with lots and lots of jump scares. It is way more clever. I really like the build-up of the tension as the two protagonists, Sister Barnes and Sister Paxton, slowly discover they're in danger. I was not familiar with these young actors, but they did an outstanding job, especially since they're playing against Hugh Grant, and his charm and almost British innocence are very endearing at first, but you can feel something sinister underneath. And the first hour is also very well directed, with lots of close-ups during the conversation so you can pick up all of the subtle facial expressions. And the slow reveal of Mr. Reed's motives is really, really good. However, at a certain point of the movie, about midway, they have to make a choice between two doors: believe or disbelieve. And while I still like the second half of the film, it wasn't as consistently good as the first. I can't really explain it without spoiling anything. But it doesn't really evolve into something else. At its core, the movie doesn't change all that much. There are some surprising elements, but it's basically more of the same. And it's a bit frustrating and kind of a letdown. Also, Mr. Reed makes a few mistakes in the second half that feel a little bit out of character, but even though the final act is a little bit disappointing, I still really, really liked Heretic. We finally get to see Hugh Grant as a great villain, and I hope to see him in more creepy roles like this because I do not care for the rom-coms. So yeah, go see Heretic. It's great.
Are you ready to hear about our Heavenly Father's plan for you?
Pacifist. I should have said pacifist. Oh well. Hail Satan, everybody.